has readily agreed for that. My association with him is for the last 30 years. I know him personally, and he is always staying in the old Congress Bhavan, that is with the Janata Dal now, old Congress Bhavan, Jantar Mandar Road, 4 Jantar Mandar Road, and he is staying there. Always we were, when working from Kerala House, we were always seeing him together. He was remembering when he met all of us about the V.R. Krishnaiyer from Kerala. He was telling us that whenever Krishnaiyer was in Kerala House, he was walking and meeting him and always calling him Swamiji and talking to him. He was remembering all that. He has got special affection towards Kerala because Kerala will never have a bonded labor issue in the state. So he was always affectionate to the Keralites, and he was always very keen to visit Kerala. So we are very fortunate that Swamiji, you are here. We are always opposed to this kind of vandalism and also hatred which is spreading by the BJP and their Sangh Parivar activists. Recently the same kind of an issue happened with Mr. Shashi Tharoor also. You might have heard about it. His office has been ransacked by a few people, and they had the machine oil was thrown to his office and tried to manhandle the people who came to see him to give memorandums. And when the news came to all of us, we all reached there, and the entire community, Kerala, people of Kerala criticized and expressed solidarity with Mr. Shashi Tharoor. The same thing happened to him also. The divisive forces who wanted to disintegrate our country on communal lines is very active. So this is the time for every like-minded people, all the secular forces, to come together and fight against the menace of this BJP and their Sangh Parivar. I was surprised to see that every state this kind of issues are taking place. Everywhere they wanted to suppress the voice of the people. Everywhere they are trying to suppress the voice of the people, as well as writers and as well as those people who are fighting against them. And I feel that everybody should work together. Yes, of the communalism. Today, whatever we are witnessing in the various parts of the country, it is unfortunate. The mob lynching is one of the major issues, not only for Kerala or India. So our Prime Minister is quiet, and he is by our side, and he also, I think that this is a design of BJP and Sangh Parivar to silence everybody who is raising their voices against the establishment. We are very hopeful, and we are very lucky that you are here with us. You are a symbol of secularism. You are a man who has fought in your life throughout and for justice. I feel that your words will give us more and more strength to fight against the misdeeds of Sangh Parivar and other fascist forces in our country.
A real honor for me to address you all. Mr. Hassan very graciously allowed me to take his slot, because unfortunately I have to catch the last flight to Delhi this evening, since Parliament resumes tomorrow morning, and that flight is at 7 o'clock, so I have to leave here not later than another 10 or 15 minutes. So with Swami Agnivesh's permission, having invited him to come here, I feel very guilty to miss his speech, but I'm sure all our media friends will ensure that I get a chance to hear the echoes of his speech, even if I'm not able to hear the whole speech. I do want to say that the topic before us is timely and painful, and I want to commend the Rajiv Gandhi Institute for having taken the initiative to assemble us all together to discuss this topic. And as Rameshji said, there could be no better principal speaker than Swami Agnivesh, who has stood up against hatred for such a long time, decades now. He was telling me that on the 21st of September he will turn 79. I told him he doesn't look it. His face is that of a young man, but I think what keeps him young is the passion for justice and the passion for doing the right thing and saying the right thing, which should animate all of us in public life. What Swami Agnivesh has stood for over the years has ranged from the abolition of bonded labour, as Ramesh Chandra reminded us. Mr. Hassan and Ramesh and I would never have expected when we were young men. I still remember in the 80s when M.J. Akbar started writing articles about the communal menace in the mid-80s. And he was at one time a friend of mine, so I remember at lunch with him in Calcutta when I was visiting from my service to the UN. And I said, Akbar, why are you going on and on about communalism? This issue is over. The secular battle has been won. We have all grown up in a secular India. It's time for us now to focus on other challenges, the economy, the transformation of our country. The most important issue that's coming up is the rise of the BJP. At that point, there are 2 seats in Parliament. He said they are a dangerous party. They stand for the worst communal instincts in this country. And he said they are the story we have to write because communal violence can damage this country. And that's a footnote. I think the important realization that I had then was then confirmed by the violence that started in our country in the late 80s with the so-called Ram Shila Pujan movement, when they were baking bricks across villages in Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, in order to take them to Ayodhya to build the temple. The rise to power of the BJP with the election of Narendra Modi in 2014. And I say this very advisedly because I know that my good friends on the other side of the parliamentary aisle will say that this is nonsense, there is no evidence for it, the Congress MPs are all fear-mongering and hate-mongering. Well, I'm sorry, they're wrong. I'll just give you a few examples of the hatred and intolerance that has been spewed in recent years, which is the subject of the title of today's seminar. And then you will understand why it's so important to stand up against it. We all know, for example, that after the ascent of the BJP to power in Delhi, and subsequently their rise to power in 21 of our 29 states, we have seen a widespread rise in incidents of communal violence. And I am quoting the figures of the Ministry of Home Affairs of the BJP government. These are not my numbers, these are not my figures or my concerns. These are concerns we all share on the basis of government data. Let me tell you, for example, that we have had in this country 2,920 incidents of communal violence in the last 4 years. 2,920 according to the Ministry of Home Affairs, in which 389 people were killed and 8,890 injured. This is just in the last 4 years. There has been a dramatic explosion of incidents linked to cow vigilantism. What is cow vigilantism? You know that Gaurakshak societies have sprung up overnight pretty much everywhere across northern India, and in the name of protecting the cow they are assaulting people, and the people are almost invariably Muslims, in some cases Dalits. That in the whole of independent India's history, 70 incidents of cow vigilantism or violence linked to cow protection have been recorded. Of those 70 incidents, 97%, that is 68 out of 70 incidents, took place in the last 4 years under BJP rule. The figures from the government itself, submitted to Parliament by the Ministry of Home Affairs in response to questions some of us have asked. These answers tell you how bad the picture is. 7% of all the cow vigilante incidents in the last 70 years since independence have taken place in the last 4 years. Over a decline in law and order. No government, after the horrors of 2002 in Gujarat, when over 1,000 people were killed, to see these things happening. But what is happening is that the government is reluctant to stop it. The government has taken a view that if it looks the other way, it is not the government's problem. And that, unfortunately, has empowered the very people who are inclined to conduct such acts of violence, because nothing empowers you more than the perception that those in power do not object to what you are doing. As he stood up immediately after such an incident and said to the nation, "This is wrong, I condemn it, it should not happen, and if these people who are doing it claim to be my followers, I urge them to desist." It would have been such a simple part.
എല്ലാവരും ഇവിടെ ആകാംക്ഷയോടെ കാത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് സ്വാമി അഗ്നിവേശിന്റെ വാക്കുകൾ കേൾക്കാനാണ്. ഇന്നത്തെ ഈ സെമിനാറിലെ ഏറ്റവും പ്രധാന പ്രസംഗവും അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെതാണ്. അസഹിഷ്ണുതയ്ക്കും അക്രമത്തിനും വിദ്വേഷ രാഷ്ട്രീയത്തിനുമെതിരെ ഉണർന്ന് പ്രവർത്തിക്കാനുള്ള ഒരു വലിയ പ്രചോദനം നൽകുന്ന ഒരു വിഷയമാണ് ഈ സെമിനാറിൽ നമ്മൾ ചർച്ച ചെയ്യുന്നത്. ഇവിടെ വന്നപ്പോൾ എന്നോട് പറയുകയായിരുന്നു, അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് ഈ യോഗത്തിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കാൻ പല നിലയ്ക്കും അർഹതയുള്ളതിൽ ഒരു പ്രധാന അർഹത 2004 രാജീവ് ഗാന്ധി സദ്ഭാവന അവാർഡ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിനാണ് ലഭിച്ചത് എന്നുള്ള കാര്യം എന്നെ ഓർമ്മിപ്പിച്ചപ്പോൾ ഈ സമ്മേളനത്തിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കുന്നതിൽ ഏറ്റവും അർഹനായിട്ടുള്ള ആള് അദ്ദേഹം തന്നെയാണ്. അത്